Let's welcome in our powerhouse panel on this Wednesday morning. We start with former special assistant to President Donald Trump and commentary editor for the Washington Times. Kelly Sadler is with us. Best-selling author and Newsmax contributor Mark Halperin will be joining us in just a little bit, but we are also joined by Christopher Arps, who is with us, joining us from St. Louis, Missouri. Chris and Kelly, good morning. I want to talk about the president's speech yesterday. He addressed the UN for the very first time. No mention of the border, very little mention of Afghanistan. He didn't talk about China or Russia. I have a tough time when you're trying to say America's back and we're going to compete on the global stage, but we're going to raise the corporate tax rate to above what they have in China. How's that going to help American businesses? He didn't address China's pollution. They are the biggest polluter on the planet. Listen to what Joe Biden had to say about the new relentless diplomacy that the U.S. will have with our allies.
I can hear you. We've ended 20 years of conflict in Afghanistan. And as we close this period of relentless war, we're opening a new era of relentless diplomacy, of using the power of our development aid to invest in new ways of lifting people up around the world.
Kelly Sadler, we'll start with you. What do you think the French thought when they heard that relentless diplomacy after this the submarine deal went bad?
Yeah, no, Biden's whole speech was a return to, leading from behind. He's going to advocate all U.S. responsibility in China. He's going to let the world, the global bodies, take control. It was also really divorced from reality. Yeah. When you're talking about Afghanistan and saying that the Taliban should be including women in their government, and the same day that they announce a broader government, no women are included, and women have been told that they can't go to school anymore. It was a lot of happy talk. There wasn't actual any what is the Biden doctrine? We did not learn anything new yesterday. But in terms of the French and what he's done diplomatically, I think a lot of our allies want to know what happened in Afghanistan. Why was the withdrawal so botched? He did not address that, and he did not take on the French and say, listen, this is the reason why we crafted this deal with Australia. He didn't take any time to explain why his administration has taken the steps that it did.
We had Gordon Chang on the program a minute ago, and I said the same thing to Gordon. It was a globalist speech. It wasn't a speech that was meant for an American audience. And he just, you make a good point about the Taliban trolling the administration, which they've done several times. So the Taliban, Kelly, you were mentioning, they introduced their deputy cabinet a day ago, the same day that President Biden is scheduled to speak at the General Assembly. And their cabinet and now their deputy cabinet is entirely men, many on terrorist watch lists. So that, I think that timing was deliberate. Chris, what'd you make of this speech yesterday?
Rob, I thought it was a missed opportunity for the president to reassert American leadership after this Afghanistan debacle and to reassure our allies. He should have warned the Taliban that we are going to not harm our people and that we're going to get our people out. He should have warned China about Hong Kong and Taiwan and how they're treating them. He should have let the world know again that China released a pandemic on the world. And in no uncertain terms, he should have said to Iran that we will not acquire a nuclear weapon under my watch. Instead, we heard about global warming and the president's congratulating himself about ending a war that the other side doesn't know that the war is over. I think it was just a bad speech, and I think it just makes America look weak on the world stage.
Well, again, in a globalist speech, you're not appealing to an American audience. How do you not mention COVID-19? 650,000 plus of your own citizens have died. Millions around the world have died. You're at the United Nations General Assembly, and you don't mention COVID-19. You don't mention China. None of this gets talked about. Blew my mind yesterday.
Big part of that may be because Fauci was funding gain of research funding for the
gain of function research.
Maybe that had something to do with it.
We know that through the Echo Health Alliance. I've seen the memos myself with my own eyes. There was a Harvard-Harris poll that came out yesterday. This is just fascinating because, again, it seems like Joe Biden's been president forever because we've careened from disaster to disaster. It's only been 8 months, almost to the day. This is Joe Biden, Donald Trump favorability. We don't do this because it's Donald Trump. If Joe Biden were, if Barack Obama was the president, we would do that before. We're just doing it because this is the most recent example. Donald Trump right now polling 48% favorability. to Joe Biden, the current president, who still should be in the honeymoon phase, by the way. That's supposed to last the first year. 46% favorable. And then another poll came out a day ago, and I thought this was just interesting. Found that Donald Trump would win the GOP primary. Again, this is Harvard-Harris as well. He'd win the GOP primary if it were held today, okay, September 2021, by 58%. Ron DeSantis and Mike Pence were only 9%, Kelly. They only got, so we think Ron DeSantis is the heir apparent. He's a young guy. I think he's got a bright future. I don't know if 2024 is his cycle.
Yeah, no, I've heard by all accounts President Trump is going to run again in 2024, just because he just sees what is going on in the world stage. And so does every American. This is why Joe Biden's numbers are cratering. And you're going to be speaking to Representative Hinton, but there's an Iowa poll. There were 62% or 63% of Iowans disapprove of President Biden. And this is a combination of crises, right? It's that of the southern border. It's that of Afghanistan. It's that of higher inflation. It's that of him wanting to get back into the Iran deal and giving concessions to China, not trying to find the origins of the coronavirus that has killed 600,000 Americans, but instead holding the unvaccinated responsible and making an enemy out of them. He holds them as more of an enemy than the Taliban or the Chinese. The American people see this and they know that something's wrong.
And we've got a body of work now that we can speak to when it comes to Joe Biden. He's been in office for 8 months. He has completely bungled the getting people vaccinated component of COVID-19. Donald Trump got us the vaccine. He got us right to the goal line. Okay. And Joe Biden has completely dropped the ball when it comes to messaging. First thing he should have done is clean house. Get rid of people like Anthony Fauci. The American people need to hear one message. That's the same message from all of our medical professionals, whether that's Rochelle Walensky, whether that's Tony Fauci, whomever it is, the message, they all needed to be on the same page, and they have not been. And that does nothing but confuse and sow the seeds of mistrust and misinformation. Panel, we'll pick this back up in just a little bit. Appreciate the time. Enjoyed it as always. Kelly Sadler, Christopher Arps. See you in a moment.